Hi guys, I'm Ryan Houston and welcome to my fly tying channel. Your video is about to start shortly. Please take this opportunity to hit the like button down below, leave some comments, tell your friends. Interaction, likes, subscriptions help my channel to grow and help me to keep producing content for yourselves. If you're new to my channel, check out the other videos that I've got. There are over 500 videos at this stage, so there should be something there for everybody. Again, video is about to start. Hit that like button down below. Hi guys, so another fly designed for perch, but I'm sure we could use it as a general sort of bait fish type pattern for other species. So again we have, this is a size 10, Sakuma Manta 470 top gun, and but just use whatever hook suits yourself. I know a lot of people use cocks and rowels. And we're going to attach on our thread, and I'm just going to coat that in super glue just to give us a good strong base to the fly, and wrap into that. So, central core of the fly, what I'm going to use is Mirage. It's just to give us flash, and I'm trying to keep the materials fairly mobile as such. So I'm going to use, say, 3 or 4 strands of that, and then we double it over, trim it off, and then we're going to not quite double it over, so we're going to say go maybe 2/3 the length doubled over on this. That'll misalign, cut that off, and this is going to give us the core length of our tail. So we'll tie that in. So we're going to end up with a fly here that's sort of finger length. Fold back these, because all these bits add that little bit of flesh, but they also help to support and give us a little bit of bulk to the fly, or body shall we call it, not bulk, because we're not sort of aiming for a big pile of bulk. So next what we're going to do is use a bit of pearl mobile. So if we take, say, 6 strands or so of that, pull them out of the bunch. Now these are much shorter bunches, so therefore again I'll misalign it, cut it off, and this time what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it in with the short bit going backwards, because I want it to throw it up a little bit for me, and just fold all this back. Check the tips. And we're just going to super glue a little bit of our tie-in thread there. And that'll hold our tail core for us. So other flies, you've seen me use bucktail to support the framework of the fly. You've seen me use hackles, and what we're going to use now is fritz. So I'm going to take this neon orange fritz, and I'm going to create a ball with that at the rear here. So several turns of that, and then we'll tie across it, fold it back on itself, and tie it down. So because it's quite dense, it'll give us a little bit of body here in the center. It'll throw out the next bunch of materials that we use for us, and it'll also create a hot spot in the center of our fly. So for the next portion of the fly, what I'm going to use is this, which is a a mixture of unsupported tinsel, as I think it's called. So it's very fine, sort of lurex. So I'm going to take a bunch of that, and I am going to kind of do what we've done before there, which is not quite double it over, and trim it off. Pull some of the fibres of the cutting end out, and this is going to create sort of the 60% say length of the fly. So we're going to allow it to splay around the shank, put on a loose turn, and tie that down and tie it back up to our. So if there's anything in here that's catching, I'm just going to make sure it splays out. So hopefully we should have the sort of halo of the fly created with this tinsel. These bits here at this end, then we just fold them back. And again, I'm going to get some glue, put it onto our thread, and just tie up to the back of that bunch. So as you can see, our fritz is actually supporting it, it's kicking it out, it's giving us this teardrop effect, as well as the sort of flash or attractive bit in the middle. So finishing the fly off, we're going to put on a head. Now you've seen me do this before with usually with craft fur, but we're going to use fox mask this time. So I have a bright orange dyed fox mask. I'm just going to get rid of the underfluff here. And then we're going to lay this bunch up. Now see, I've flattened it. So once I lay that up and grip it, then that allows it to splay right around the shank. Now we'll end up with this little sort of collary bit here to it, and that'll help to support the head when we fold all this other bit back. So again, I'm going to take my glue, and I'm going to glue an inch or so of the thread. I'm going to wind that down in behind and put a half hitch into it and trim it off, and that is the end of the tying as such. It's just the shaping of the fly to come. So we're just going to get all this sort of umbrellaed out. It should be evenly splayed out around like a cone, and then we just want to fold that back on itself. Now if you didn't want to go down the route of eyes, you could just have that as it is. You could have just put the stuff to finish it, or to the front of it, finished it off and created a small head, and then you'd have that extra movement without eyes. But as we're going to put eyes on here, we're going to shape the head. So I'm just going to pull all back till I'm happy with it. As you can see now, I have it sort of pulled it flat into position. And I'm just going to take my glue and just go all around it, just letting it seep into the start of it. And then I'll get a big straw, clear straw, so I can see what we're doing. I'll put it just to the back of where I want the head to be, and I'm going to pinch it. And the pinching it creates a nice flat portion for us to get our eyes onto. So what I'm also going to do is I'm just going to force the under bit up so that we're not taking up the gape, and I can also, if I want, lift the upper bit up so we get height and body to the fly, while down here making sure that we have an available gape to hook with here. So we're going to give that a while to dry, and then we're going to put a head on. So we have, as per usual over here, we've got one we tied earlier, so we'll take this one out, set it up, put this one back into the vise, and we're going to create the usual epoxy head that I make now. You can use UV cure if you want. It's just not something I'm 100% comfortable with, so I prefer using this stuff here. And what I'm going to do this time is I'm going to mix a bronze glitter into it, although choose whatever you want. And the reason I'm using bronze is that I'm going to put gold eyes on it, and so either I would have to make it clear so that the gold stood out against the orange, or use something that'll going to contrast against, because I thought of making a gold head, but then the gold eyes wouldn't set out just as much against it, so hence the bronze head. So a little bit of this out onto our post-it pad, and then mix the whole thing together. As per usual, the glitter is giving us a good indication of when we have a good mix, because it'll be evenly distributed throughout our epoxy. And then we take our little bleb, push it onto the side so that we get like this cheek or plate of epoxy on the side. Then I just hold it against the fly while I rotate the vise over to the other side. That gives me a continuation between the two, but creates a sort of thinner coat across the bottom, and the same then on the top. So now we have our epoxy blob the whole way around. We're going to use these now. These are 4mm, I suppose gold with a black center, but choose what you have, choose what suits yourself, your own tastes. I'm just going to dip the back edge of it into the bleb that we have, flip it over, same here, dip the back edge of the eye in, and then I usually then slide that back. That allows the head to sort of bulge, but you get that little lip just over the curvature of the eye, and to me that helps to keep the eye on and together, stop it delaminating, because these are printed on foil generally. If we want to be 100% sure, what we do is just the same, just take this little bit, so there's a little bleb of epoxy just at the front of the head, so I just push it back so we get the tiniest little lip of it. It'll run off it again then, but there'll still be some of it there so that it keeps the whole thing continuous and keeps a little lip to stop the eye from falling apart. So this now needs to rotate. So the fly itself is done, it just needs to dry out. So either, as said, you stick with it here and keep rotating it, or we put it in a rotary fly dryer. So I'm going to put it in the rotary fly dryer and leave it. It's only a 5-minute epoxy anyway. So that's our fly done. To me, orange and gold always did well for perch. So hopefully you like what you see. If you did, give us a like, subscribe, tell your friends, check out all the other videos on the channel, and until next time, tight lines, and thanks for watching.